Should the nation be rooting for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? The answer is yes. What are the 4 items that belong inevitably on the Super Bowl party snack? Mount Rushmore, and our buddy from Western Kentucky, Jake from Snake Farm, has a real problem, and I'm going to help him deal with it. All that and more today on The Number 2 Show. Hey, welcome back to The Number 2 Show. I am Rafe Williams, and welcome all of my acolytes, the Bowl Patrol, if you will, the Do Warriors, and casual listeners alike. Welcome back. I'm excited to be here. We took a break last week. I was off a little bit, and I missed you guys. I had to go film something. It was an inevitable pause in The Number 2 Show, and I got to be honest, threw my whole rhythm off. It's literally like, it is exactly like when you haven't pooped in a while. You're just like, something's wrong with my body, and that's how I felt, not being able to be with my listeners, with my crew. So it's good to be back, and I'm back in full effect, and I got my favorite person right by my side, and it's time for our segment called 15 Minutes with Rizz. Scott Rizzuto, everybody. He's here.
Oh, hey, good to see you.
Good to see you, Rizz. Thanks for sitting in here on the Number 2 Show, the number two show of the new year.
I'm so happy to be sitting in this stall.
And I'm happy to have you. I'm going to get right into it because I only got 15 minutes.
I'm starting my clock right now.
Start your trusty clock, and now we have 15 minutes to pick Scott Rizzuto's brain. Well, this is going to be, I'm going to just talk about it because it is the week of the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I have a vested interest in, as a Chiefs fan, a lifelong Chiefs fan, I got a vested interest in the game. We've talked about this a lot. It's been weird for me the last few years because normally I can just attend a Super Bowl party and be somewhat ambivalent. I might have a team I'm rooting for, but not to be not a die-hard situation where every play is going to get my cockles up.
So being that your team is playing in the big game,
correct,
you can't be around other people. You prefer to be alone. And I understand, because if you're at a Super Bowl party, you have, a lot of people there who are not into the game, who are talking, who are moving around. It's about the food. It's about the commercials. But you are there solely to watch your team play for an NFL championship.
Yeah, it's kind of tough when you get in those situations where it's like, hey, man, I want other people to have fun. I understand that my energy may not be a fun energy while we're watching people. I live and die. I bleed Chiefs Kingdom red. That's just the way it is. And I'm not a fair weather fan. I've been a fan since I was a kid. I can show you the receipts. I can show you the Chiefs puppy jacket.
We all believe you, bandwagon guy. But listen, I'm not. I am a sports fanatic. I love all sports. I will watch all sports, from baseball to football to basketball. I will watch golf. I'll watch NASCAR. But I'm not one of these fans that
watch golf.
Dude, I'll watch golf.
That's crazy, but anyway.
I watch Olympics. I watch all that stuff. I like sport. I'm not one of these sports fanatics who gets crazy during a game, even if it's my favorite team.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these guys.
I don't get wild. I think people envision me like standing in front of a television, like screaming and punching holes in the drywall. I'm not doing that. But I do get a little, when things start to turn, I do start to be like, oh, here we go, man. Like, dink and dump. What are we doing here, guys?
Listen,
it's 3rd and 12. I start to chat. I start to chirp a little, and it's like,
okay. So you're not yelling. You're not cursing everybody out. The Monday after every Super Bowl, you'll see the videos on social media of people breaking their TVs and punching holes in the drywall.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there, but I get excited when things go well. I'm hyped. When we won the first Super Bowl in 2020, I watched it at home because I didn't know. I literally was like, I can't be around anyone. I'm going to be so nervous. And it was the most it was the game where San Francisco was up by 10 at halftime. Things were not looking good for the Chiefs. Come back and win. And I didn't know what to do with my excess energy and happiness. And I just went outside and threw up in a bush by myself. And it was the best puke of my life.
And this is after the win.
After they won, it was almost like I had a nervous energy. I needed to get joy out of my body, and my body didn't know how to process the amount of joy I was feeling.
Yeah.
And it just like flipped my stomach. It was almost like falling in love too fast. And I didn't know what to do with the butterflies, so I had to let them out of the butterfly house. And I just threw up nachos in a bush. And I celebrated. It was just me and Tina and our friend Nate, who's a big Chiefs fan. We had one guy over, but I'm like, if it's another Chiefs fan, I can do it. But you have no vested interest in this week.
No, and I want to see the Chiefs win because I hate Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And listen, a lot of my friends, yourself included, are big Chiefs fans, so I want to see them happy. But I will be attending a Super Bowl party. I will be paying attention to the commercials, and I will be getting up. And getting myself another plate of wings.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. And that's my strategy. I think I'm going to watch at home again this year. The dynasty is important to me. The three-peat would be cool. I also just feel like whatever party I go to, the Chiefs have reached that level of Patriot hate where the internet has started this whole like refs are rigging it. You know, I saw a really great thing. Chris Long had a great thing where he's like, you know, I played in the NFL. I'm no longer a fan. I'm just a casual observer. And he's like, there's too much emotion. He's like, everybody's full of shit. Yes, the Chiefs get calls. Guess who else gets calls? Every other team in the NFL. He's like, you're just hyper-focused on them because they play in prime time all the time, and you actively want them to lose, which I think is partially true. I'm not saying that there haven't been some suspect calls or have. No one more than a Chiefs fan. I hate it when I see the flags come out because I'm like, oh, this is going to be on freaking social media tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. It's like, more ammo.
Which I hate.
More ammo for, crapping on my team.
Right. So my plan is to sit at home, make all the dishes that I like, and watch the game in peace. Because I don't think I can enjoy a Super Bowl party in the commercials because I'm going to actively be hearing people rooting for Philly who aren't Philly fans. Just as the way you're anti-Philly because you're from New York. I'm assuming that's where that stems from, right?
Yeah. And, Philly fans are notoriously terrible people.
Yeah, they got to grease. They just showed a Philly fan take a Washington Commanders guy's hat off his head after a game.
Right. And
it was like a girl doing it, talking shit, rips the guy's hat off, doesn't give it back. And I'm like,
garbage.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, man, that's like grounds to swing on somebody if somebody takes a personal item of yours.
Of course it is.
You basically just robbed the guy.
Although, I do envy in a way, not Philly fans, but I do envy the people who are just so passionate that they live and die by, a Sunday afternoon 3-hour window. And the reason I'm envious of that is because I wish I was as passionate
about anything.
Something.
Is there anything that you're close on? Model airplanes, meatballs. Is there anything that Scott Rizzuto is borderline that passionate about?
Listen, I love food, but I'm not going to stand there and go, yeah, nachos, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of leading me into the thing I want to talk about, which is I got an email. We're talking Super Bowl parties, the proclivities of, and food.
Oh, and
here's the email I got. I want to read it to you because I want us to be. We need a few minutes to suss this out together.
Super Bowl is an eating holiday, yes,
it is, and we've talked about this on the Rizzuto show. We believe it should be a holiday. We believe you should have Monday off for the food hangover, just like you do for Thanksgiving. They should either move it to Saturday.
I think they should move it to Saturday,
or move it up a week to make it coincide with President's Day. And everybody's off on Monday anyway. We don't even need a new holiday.
Yep.
You just line the holidays up. Super Bowl Sunday and President's Day. So you eat yourself into a coma, and then you go buy a mattress because that's what I assume everyone does on President's Day because that's all I ever see is mattress sales. I can hear Joey, the video guy, laughing through the wall during this presentation, which is great. So here's the food question, Rizz, and we gotta hash this out. How much time's left on the clock?
8 minutes.
Okay, with 8 minutes we can do this. Hello, number 2 show. So I was thinking about Rizz's food dilemma for his friend's party, which you'd mentioned that you didn't know what to bring to Super Bowl party.
Well, I asked my buddy whose house I'm going over to, hey, what can I bring? And he goes, bring whatever.
Worst answer.
Come on, man.
Worst answer. Bring
Give
whatever.
Give me a direction.
Well, what are you having? Because like the worst thing is you drive to someone's house and their parties and the food is shitty. And like, oh, I forgot to tell you, wife's a vegan and she made everything from chickpeas. It's cauliflower wings and chickpea pizza. And you're like, get me the fuck out of here as fast as possible. So here's the question. Thinking about Rizz's food dilemma at his friend's party and thinking of my own menu for Sunday. Let's take hot wings off the table as a given.
Okay.
So hot wings are gone.
So it's assumed that which hot wings are the number one Super Bowl party.
Just wings in general.
Yeah.
So wings in a class of their own. Mm-hmm. What is the Mount Rushmore of food options for a Super Bowl party? So that, I assume, means
taking wings off the table.
I'm thinking warm dip and a cold dip, a pasta salad or regular salad or veggie tray. Veggie tray. This person's on crack. Then something medium chunky like meatballs or sliders or toasted ravs. I don't know. I'm lost. I'm really at a crossroads. What do you guys think? Also, dessert. My go-to is strawberries and fruit dip, which is not the right answer. And then usually cookies or brownies. Thoughts. Love the show. 3 out of 5 stars.
Way off.
This is she, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie. Way off. First off, you can't not include wings on the Mount Rushmore. It's like taking Washington off the Mount Rushmore. You can't.
Yes,
it's got to be on there.
Right. So we just have to assume. Let's assume the mountain is made of hot wings. Okay. So the mountain consists of just a pile of steaming hot, bone in, not boneless, by the way. It has to be bone in. I don't know why, because I'm not usually a stickler for that, but for the Super Bowl,
boneless it's adult chicken nuggets.
Right. So the mountain is made of hot wings. We have to put 4 more items on this mountain of hot wings.
Now, to be a great Super Bowl,
I want to say something controversial.
Item. It needs to be able to hold.
Right.
It needs to be able to hold. So chicken wings hold good. Like you could keep them warm and not really much change. From the first quarter to the second quarter will occur if those things just stay in a chafing dish.
No, and honestly, it's a quick fix. If you can pop them in the mic for 30 seconds, you're good for another quarter.
Well, yeah, you don't even need to really do that. You could have a hot plate, and you'll be fine.
Put them in a hot plate, you're good.
A hot dip, crock pot, it still stays, however viscous it's supposed to be. It's fine between first and second quarter.
So and let's start there. I think a warm dip.
Yes.
Probably some sort of Rotel Velveeta-based cheese queso dip in a crock pot.
1,000% they got to go on Mount Rushmore.
100%. So we're going to say first president on, I'm just going to say Rotel dip. Now, everyone's got their own version of this. Everyone, put in whatever you want.
You could put sausage in there. You could put ground beef. It's the Rotel dip, which I also think takes the place of nachos.
I think so, too. And I think it's going to serve, it's nachos in a vat.
Yes.
So it's nachos that stay. So we're going to say Rotel dip / nacho bar.
Yeah, because it's
the same thing to me.
If you have shredded cheese on there, that does not hold.
Agreed. And also, like, if you're just going to put nacho cheese over to the side to add to the chips with a bunch of, like, loose, and the reason I don't like the nacho thing is because then you have the same problem. Like the cold starts to get up to room temperature. Then all these cold items like black olives and sour cream and stuff like that start to hit room temp. Whereas when you have a controlled environment of the Rotel dip, you got to throw a meat in there, whether it's Italian sausage or ground beef. Or
I would prefer sausage in there, chorizo, whatever.
Yep.
But it's not required to still be good.
Yes, but this services the need of nacho cheese and chips item.
Okay.
So that's going on first. Now, I'm going to say the controversial things. I want to get it out of the way before you say it. I do not think pizza belongs on the Mount
Rushmore. I don't either.
All right. I thought that was going to be a fight.
No, unless it is pizza that is consumed immediately.
Right. I just don't think I don't ever go to a Super Bowl party. I get it. I get that Domino's and Papa John's and Pizza Hut and all these places, like, they advertise 10 pizzas for your party. It's a lazy man's way out of a Super Bowl party.
I'm not going to be upset about it.
I would never be mad if you don't have pizza.
I'll have a slice.
I will, but it is not that important to me. It just is not on the Mount Rushmore to me. I'm glad we agreed on that. I thought that was going to be 5 minutes of arguing.
I would like to replace pizza with the big sandwich.
Ooh, go on.
You know, the big Italian sandwich that you slice.
Like a 6 foot.
Like a 6-footer that you slice.
Party sub.
A party sub. Which holds. You can have it out for as long as you want.
True.
Customizable.
Yep.
You want to put mustard on it. You want to put mayo on it. Fine.
Yeah.
You want to take the tomatoes off. I'm not going to be upset about that. But it is a...
Assorted meats.
It is, yeah. It's your meats. It's your cheeses. It's your good bread. And it's something that stays. If I don't want it the first quarter, fine. I'll come back the second quarter, and it'll be just as good as it was in the first quarter.
Right. Now, does it belong on Mount Rushmore?
I think so.
You think the big sandwich belongs? That's your second choice.
I think it does because people don't really think about it. And once they hear my reasoning behind it, they're going to go, oh, you know, he's right. The big sandwich should be on Mount Rushmore.
And your logic for that is it's customizable and it keeps.
Customizable and it keeps. That's the key to a good Super Bowl.
And we're talking a serious sub here. We're talking multiple cheeses, multiple meats.
You don't even need multiple cheeses. It could be an Italian combo, which with provolone on it.
Slow down, brother.
It could be roast beef and cheddar or American. It doesn't matter as long as it's a party size. All
right, party sub.
Party sub.
All right, party sub's up. And I'm gonna I like my mom's taco dip. I'm including that in the Rotel nacho dip category. I think any variation of that is a staple. So I don't want to argue semantics on that. So now we've started our two presidents on the mountain of hot wings is a hot or a Rotel dip,
and your cold sub,
and a cold sub. We got a hot and a cold.
May I throw another hot up there?
All right, throw another hot.
Chili.
Dark horse.
Chili, which will keep in a crock pot and still maintain what it needs to maintain. Another customizable dish with side fixins.
Only to a certain degree, though.
You want to do oyster crackers? You want to do tortilla chips? You want to do sour cream? You want to do guacamole? You want to do cheese on it? Onions or not? It doesn't matter. But also, it could be put in a little bowl, a little styrofoam bowl, and eaten while sitting on the couch, and not be probably the least messy of all the Super Bowl snacks.
Right.
Because it is contained to the bowl.
Okay. And I would like to say, we're assuming, we're not counting like chips in those snack foods. I'm talking about showstoppers here. All right.
Oh, I'm already assuming you got a bowl of Doritos.
Right. Now,
you can't argue with the logic of the chili.
Here's what I'll argue with you on. Now we have two hot crockpot items on Mount Rushmore. I feel like it could be a little lopsided. I feel like you got to go one way or the other because now I got a hot, cheesy dip. By the time I feel like you could put chili in the Rotel dip and save room.
Rafe, it's a long game. Okay?
I'm going to put chili off to the side because I want to talk about, I'm not ready to rubber stamp that yet.
It's a long game, so you're going to want variety. You may want big sandwich at the start of the game, and I may have chili after halftime.
Okay.
And I may want wings, when Kendrick Lamar's on stage. I don't know.
All right. That's a lot of dips.
Chili's not a dip, and how dare you?
Well, that's a lot of crock pot items because, I'm still thinking.
What, do you not have enough outlets?
Oh, I do. My counter space is limited.
Get a power strip.
All right. Well, let's talk about. So now if we put chili on, we got one spot left. What are you recommending for the fourth?
I defer to you. If you want to do too hot, too cold.
Well, what about dessert?
I never really think about dessert for the Super Bowl.
I don't either. Honestly, I could go sans dessert to get more out of the actual. Because for me,
football is a savory holiday.
It is, and I got to go.
Super Bowl's a savory holiday.
Here's the thing that I'll put up, and you can have your own variation on it. My personal favorite, and I think it is the only time that it's called for. I think the only thing keeping this product in business is Super Bowl Sunday, and that is the Little Smoky. I want to put the Little Smoky and Little Smoky dishes up. Now, I personally like the bacon wrapped and a bacon wrapped item, whether it's a bacon wrapped date or a bacon wrapped Little Smoky. The cheddar Little Smoky's got a cheddar cheese. You wrap it in bacon, you put a toothpick through it, some brown sugar, and you bake it in the oven. Now, it's as close as legally possible to a dessert while still being a savory item, which I think checks off 2 boxes. And that is why I say the bacon wrapped, brown sugar Little Smoky, dark horse candidate for the 4th item.
And that is above Pigs in a Blanket?
It's above Pigs in a Blanket to me, because Pigs in a Blanket, it's just a croissant. It's just first of all, you're bringing some French shit into Super Bowl Sunday, the most American holiday. No, thank you. No, thank you. I just want meat wrapped in bacon, dipped in sugar. That is an American item, dude. Caramelized.
I'll give it to you. Put it on the mountain.
All right.
Carve it.
We're going to go Little Smokies. Now, I want to look through a list. I want to see if there's anything we forgot.
We have about 2 minutes. I'm overtime already, so.
All right, well, then let's just do this. I'm looking through a list of 32. I'm going to do top 10.
Just run through them. I'll say love it, hate it.
I'm going to. I want to see if anything, top 10 Super Bowl party foods.
Okay.
See what we come up with here. Chicken wings, covered.
Covered.
Nachos, chips and salsa, chili. Feel like we covered all that.
Covered.
Pigs in a Blanket, we've opted out.
Yeah, we'll opt out. We'll put Little Smokies.
Spinach artichoke dip, 7-layer dip.
Spin dip. Spin dip's great. I'd rather have the Rotel and Velveeta.
Same. Sliders, I feel like we covered that with the party sub.
Sliders are good, but
dude, I do love me a little Hawaiian bread slider, dude.
If they get cold, again, that's got a finite shelf life.
I agree. And looking at this list, what are the top 10 best Super Bowl foods? Cupcakes and cookies, no.
I could do without them.
Meatballs
in a crock pot, good.
Are you ready to bump?
No.
All right, chili is number 8. We put that on.
Yeah.
Pigs in a Blanket, we opted out and went with the
Smokies
because it's closer to dessert. I thought that was a good decision.
Yeah.
Loaded potato skins. I don't recognize this as a Super Bowl staple, but it's number 6 on the list. How do we feel?
I'm not going to kick it out of bed.
Me neither. It's a pleasant surprise, but
it'd be
Mount
fine.
Rushmore?
I'd be happy with it. Not Mount Rushmore material.
Oh, sliders, number 5.
Good, not Mount Rushmore.
Nachos, feel like we covered.
Covered.
Chips and dip, I feel like was covered. Also with the queso. Pizza, get out of here. And wings. I'm ready to lock it in, dude.
Lock it in. What is our Mount Rushmore?
Our Mount Rushmore.
If we take chicken wings out of the equation.
Chicken wings out of the equation. The Mount Rushmore is. Oh, hold on a second. We got to decide which presidents are which, by the way.
Who do we got? We got Lincoln, Washington,
Jefferson, and I believe
Roosevelt.
Teddy.
Yeah.
All right. So on our mountain of hot wings, we have Rotel dip / nacho dip / taco dip, whatever. Any kind of queso-based Mexican flared dip. Which president is that?
I feel like that's Jefferson.
Yeah, me too, man. I don't know.
I feel like he's
same way.
I feel like he's an expansion guy.
Yeah.
The Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah. And he kind of like, he had a little flavor. He
brought
kind of
macaroni and cheese to the White House.
He did, and he kind of had, he had a thing for ethnic ladies, and this is as close to like dipping our toe in another ethnicity as we're getting for an American holiday.
Your Rotel Velveeta dip,
a little spice
is your Jefferson.
Yeah, that's Jefferson for sure. Jefferson likes a little spice. Hey, baby girl, Tommy J, he liked that Rotel dip. All right, party sub. Well, Jefferson's off the table. We got Roosevelt, Lincoln, Washington. I feel like this is George, right?
Your party sub?
I mean, it's the staple. It's the meat and potatoes of the Mount Rushmore, besides the wings.
It's the meat, cheese, and bread.
It's the founding.
Yeah.
It's the first thing. right? Like when you go make a plate, you make the sandwich, and then everything gets built around.
It's also
that.
when you look on the table and you go, woohoo, party sub. I'm grabbing that first.
Yeah.
Make room for the party sub. Okay, good.
All right, so we're going to go. That's George?
George.
Yeah, I feel like the party sub is the foundation of everything we know to be good. It's a unanimous thing that everyone's going to put on their plate. Now we got chili. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. All we have left is Roosevelt and Lincoln. Here's my argument why I think chili is probably Abe. For one thing, it is one of the most popular things on this list that exists outside of the Super Bowl party. He's one of the most universally known
presidents
and loved president. He did a lot of good things.
And I feel like chili's honest.
Chili's honest about what it is. You know? It is. Chili's honest. And chili's a little gay. So, like, and there's rumors that Lincoln might have been secretly a little gay. And I think there's a little gayness in chili.
And if you want to eat
it's like
chili with a
soup.
spoon and your pinkies up, that's fine too.
Yeah, I think so. And honestly, people feel strongly about chili. That's the other thing. It's like is it sweet? It can be a little sweet. It can be a little hot. And I think, Abe covers all of that.
Also, as far as the customizableness of chili, everybody's invited.
Everyone's invited. That's right. He wants everyone. Everyone's equal.
Mm-hmm.
Chili is equality. That's what it's about. There's chili equality. And that's good. So that's Abe, which leaves Little Smokies, which I think totally fits Roosevelt. Roosevelt was a quirky guy.
Well, it's also walk softly and carry a big stick.
Yeah. And also, man, Roosevelt was a meat eater. And this is the thing. It's meat wrapped in meat dipped in sugar. And Roosevelt had several heart attacks. He got shot and finished a speech. That's a man who wraps things in bacon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There was an assassination attempt on Teddy Roosevelt.
Head of the Rough Riders, too.
Head of the Rough Riders, fought in the Spanish-American War, got shot, gave the speech anyway.
Also, Lil Smokey could be a gang name.
Yeah, Lil
gang
Smokey.
Member. Bring in Lil Smokey. And I feel like Teddy was a gangster.
Yeah, Teddy was a gangster. He had them little bitty glasses, too. He had them little round glasses, look like two little Smokies looking at you through two little Smokies.
Also, look at the nerd, but he could kick your ass. And
yeah,
he was Little Smokies.
That's what I mean. He was kind of a chubby guy. His mustache kind of looks like a Little Smoky. He was kind of a chubby guy, like he was wrapped in bacon, but he will kick your ass just like he was the real deal.
Yep. All right, there you go. We're good.
We did it. There's the Mount Rushmore. That concludes 15 minutes with Rizz.
All right, guys, enjoy the Super Bowl.
All right, hopefully we'll be chatting about a Chiefs win next week.
Happy eats.
Happy eats, cool treats. There's the Mount Rushmore. Natalie from Afton, I hope that was a thorough enough conversation for you. And we'll be back for the next segment right after a word from a few of our sponsors. And we're back. Thank you so much. Had a ton of fun with Rizz, and we definitively settled which 4 Super Bowl party items belong on the Mount Rushmore. Sans hot wings, which is a given. The mountain is made of hot wings. Not only do we define the dips and the items and the goodness and what belongs, hot, cold, liquid dip, almost a dessert, we decided which presidents they were. That's how thorough we are. So you're welcome, America, going into Super Bowl weekend. Go Chiefs. But now that we're back, I haven't done this in a while, and I have some calls kind of piling up. So we're going to do a little segment where I give advice or just comment on, or sometimes we just listen to a completely unhinged message from the 1-800 Papa Squat hotline. That's 818-532-1420, and you can call it anytime, day or night. That's 818-532-1420. Leave me a message. Maybe you got something you want to get off your chest. Maybe you got something you want to admit to, a confession. You can make it anonymous. You can tell me who you are. You can tell me who you are and ask me to keep you anonymous. I am totally here to protect my sources. I have journalistic integrity. But anytime I'm doing a show, I want to hear from the fans. And you guys really call in and ask some good questions. And you bring up something that's a very heartfelt, sincere topics. And I really appreciate that. And I try to approach them, granted, tongue-in-cheek sometimes, but I also will try to approach them with the same sincerity that you give me. So, with that being said, 818-532-1420 is the number. You can call anytime, and you might end up on this segment, which is a segment I like to call Tank Talks. Hello, here we go. Dr. Rafe is in, and he is charging by the hour to solve your problems and talk about your issues. And it's a safe space here in this toilet, right here in this stall where I sit. It's always a safe space to talk about anything, just anything at all that might be bothering you, or maybe something that you done when you was a child that you've just been carrying around, and the weight of it has become too much for you to bear, and you need to get it off your chest. You just call in. You call the Pop Squad hotline. It's the same thing as confession. If you tell me about it, and I talk about it in the religious, there's nothing more religious than where you come to the throne to worship the porcelain gods, and I'll talk about it, and you'll be absolved and abstained, and all will be forgiven, and you will be welcomed into the kingdom of doo-doo. Here on Tank Talks, I'm your host, Reverend Rafe Williams. Thank you very much for being here with me. And the Reverend is in, and he is ready to hear your cries and solve your problems in the den of iniquity that the 1-818-532-1420 hotline will solve. So call it anytime, day or night. The Reverend is always listening. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. First message. We got an update from one of my favorite callers. Haven't listened to it yet, but I know by the name. It's my boy from Western Kentucky. We got an update from my boy who leaves me the funniest messages in the world. I love this guy, Jake from Snake Farm. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, shitheads, this is your local Jake the Snake Farmer from West Kentucky. No more drunk phone calls at 4 a.m. I just got off work. Had a scare back on Thanksgiving. Got diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver. Go Monday for colonoscopy for cancer check they found on my colon. Just wanted to let y'all know that I still love you. And keep on shitting.
All right, the abrupt end. Keep on shitting. Jake from Snake Farm, everybody. This sounded a little more serious than previous Jake from Snake Farm, even though he had some very, very funny things about getting arrested for planting weed on his neighbor's property on accident and things like that in the past. Jake, it sounds like you're off the sauce, my man, if I'm interpreting that call correctly. Since Thanksgiving, you said you had a scare. I don't know exactly what that means. Maybe it's a colonoscopy thing, or maybe it was maybe you was having some pains, or you got some blood work done. But whatever it is, man, that's a scary thing to find out, and I empathize with you, my man. So my guess is you're probably getting off the booze, and that can be a tricky thing to do. I have a lot of people message me about that. I've talked about it on here before, and maybe ad nauseum, but at the same time, I don't think you can ever talk about it enough. I'm definitely a proponent of taking care of your health, man, and getting off the sauce is kind of hard, especially if it's a habitual thing. And you may not have been an alcoholic. Maybe you were just a 6-beer-a-day guy, drink a 6-pack after work. Cirrhosis, or maybe it's genetic. I don't know. But either way, it sounds like drinking's probably not a good idea when you have cirrhosis of the liver. So I'm hoping that you can, and the good thing is your liver is the one organ that bounces back. So you got a shot at this, man, if you can maintain your sobriety. One thing I will say that helped me, man, was just give yourself appointments. Give yourself a reason to get up in the morning and appointments to keep. If it's lunch with a friend, working out, go and, give yourself something that you're interested in. Like, I've always been interested in banjos and where they came from. Find a store that does like folk music and go and pick that dude's brain about banjos and the history of banjos, whatever it is. Like, give yourself something interesting to you to do every day. A little date for yourself, and try to use that time and keep those appointments, and you keep your word to yourself and you'll start to feel a little empowered by it, And I know it's tough to, I don't know where you're at with sobriety, if you need to go to rehab or something like that, but it's going to the support groups is helpful, man. Even if you don't feel like you had a problem. The cool thing about like AA or NA or any of these groups, and I have another listener that, their son is recovering. He's 20 years old, and they were talking to me about it. And, he had an accident, wrecked a car, and got into some trouble. And whether you have a problem or not, it is a good community to be a part of because you know that booze will not enter into the equation. And you can find a good AA group, man. You don't have to get all hung up on the narratives of higher power. I think that stops people a lot. I myself am agnostic, okay? And I found plenty of good groups. Your higher power can be your pet cat, one of your snakes, Jake from Snake Farm. They can be your higher power. It's basically just saying like, hey, I'm giving this problem over to something bigger than me. I don't want it to be on my shoulders and resting on me all the time. It could be the group you're in. That could be your higher power, the power of community. You don't have to get hung up on the semantics of God the Father and the figurehead and all that stuff. Get over that shit. Take what's useful to you and leave the rest. The book is useful. Bill T's, Alcoholics Anonymous book. I've read it cover to cover, babe. Not everything in it resonated with me, but a lot of it did. There were a couple of them stories I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. But the most important thing is it builds community that understands what you're going through and gives you appointments to keep and lets you know that you're not alone and that other people have gone through similar struggles and come out the other side. And if you slip and fall, they're not going to judge you. And I think it's important for men especially, because a lot of times, I don't know if you're married or not, Jake from Snake Farm, but a lot of times men don't have good adult friendships. They don't have good adult communities, and we end up putting a lot of pressure on our significant others to solve our problems. And you seem like a guy who's probably having fun when he was drinking, and I get that. So you're probably like, well, I like to have. There's other ways to have fun, man. I am still I haven't drank in 14 years. I'm still fun at a party. I dance at weddings. I do all the crazy stuff. And a good chunk of that I owe to a lot of my sobriety revolved around figuring out who I was socially. I stopped being good time Charlie, Jake from Snake Farm. I got hammered and planted weed on the wrong property. You sound like a fun dude. I want to hang out with you. And if you called me sober in that phone call, you sounded like a fun-ass dude. I want to hang with you. I'd spend an afternoon with you just to see what Western Kentucky flavor is all about. So just being part of those social groups that don't drink and don't pressure you to have alcohol helps you kind of navigate figuring out your new personality, who you're going to be without the power of the influence of the bottle. And man, if it's for your health, you got to do it. You can't let that shit have power over you. I've seen it affect so many people in my life. And I'm not I'm not a teetotaler. Okay, if you can drink alcohol and you can drink responsibly and it's not causing you problems in your life, cheers to you, bud. But some of us are genetically predisposed to be fuck-ups, to imbibe irresponsibly. It's in our genetic code. We're all or nothing people. And I'm an all or nothing guy. And that got me in trouble in the end with alcohol. And I think you do whatever you have to do to quit, man. Like I said, I'm not a teetotaler. I'm not going to sit here and tell you alcohol is evil. Alcohol is the devil's. It's the devil's liquid, and you must keep it out of your godlike veins. I don't know. Some people, it's fine. But be honest with yourself. If you have cirrhosis of the liver, it's caused a problem, my man. It's caused a health problem. And a lot of times I think people think you have to be falling down drunk and at the end of your rope to admit it's a problem. No, man. If alcohol has become something you lean on to tune out, to numb out, if it's become something that you wake up and you feel like shit the next day and you're beating yourself up, even if it's just occasionally, if it's something that you feel like you're drinking at home to cope with your spouse or your partner or take the edge off a little too often, it can be a problem that you decide when it's a problem for you. You're lucky, in effect, Jake, honestly. In a way, you have the one problem that is actually diagnosed by a doctor, which is cirrhosis of the liver. You have an actual medical problem caused by drinking. And that can be a great motivator, because a lot of times with other people in sobriety, they don't get there. You know, alcohol's destroyed their life, but it's the only disease that you have to diagnose yourself with, which is an unfortunate side effect of drinking. But, you know, the thing I would say to you, man, is like, you don't have to wait for things to get out of control. It seems like you got a shot at getting on the other side of this thing, man, and I have empathy and love for you. And if there's anything I can do, man, message me. Keep me in the loop, dude. How's it going? Send me an email. You can call me on the hotline. Let me know how your sobriety's going, and get in those groups. Don't worry about that shit. Find yourself a community that will help you kind of readjust to what life without alcohol is like. And it's a great life, man. The other side of things can be great. And if anybody else is listening and this is helpful, you don't have to wait to get cirrhosis of the liver to change things. You know, sometimes it's just, you know, you're not yourself, or you become a little too dependent on something, and it's time to get off the train. Get off early. Better to get off early than to let things snowball and become more problematic. You don't have to lose your job, your husband or your wife, your kid, custody of your kids, empty out your bank account, wake up in Thailand with the tattoo of a ladyboy on your back. You don't have to have all those things happen. You can just decide that, you know what, I want to change. And if you want to change, try everything under your power. And if it doesn't work, try it again. And if it doesn't work, try it a third time. Good luck, Jake. Good luck. Godspeed. Anything you need, we got your back, man. That was a good fun. You know what? And I'm going to end it there. I had a second one, but I don't want to get this. It's going to take me a while to unravel the next one. And I don't want to have a 2-hour podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right there. We'll get to the next one on the next episode. I promise, if you've sent me anything, I am listening. I am paying attention. I've got them saved in the queue, and I am going to address them soon. And if anybody out there, like I said, wants to call and leave a message on the hotline, 818-532-1420. That's 818-532-1420. And I hope that talking about sobriety and talking about those things, even if it feels repetitive at times, man, I hope that it helps. And that'll conclude this week's Tank Talks, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor to wrap this thing up. Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode of the Number 2 Show. Short and sweet and to the point, just like a good dookie should be. We talked about some cool stuff. I had some time with Rizz. We got to the bottom of the Mount Rushmore of Super Bowl foods at a party, and why the Kansas City Chiefs should be America's team. And then I had a check-in from my favorite caller from Western Kentucky, Jake from Snake Farm. He's dealing with a serious problem. And Jake, we're here for you, buddy. If you got to get sober, my man. But all that happened today on the Number 2 Show. And honestly, here's how you can help me. If you enjoy the show and you enjoy being a part of this community, spread the word, because I don't live in a genre, okay? This ain't true crime. I mean, some bathrooms are crime scenes, I'll be honest with you, but it doesn't technically qualify as true crime, nor does it qualify as a sports podcast, or it's just a comedy podcast. It's the only podcast that's a talk show that takes place inside of a public toilet. Now, that is a genre in and all of itself, okay? It's all by itself out there. So it really helps me, and I know it's cliche, if you share, like, and subscribe. Tell people that you like the show. Share some of my Instagram clips. Tell people to listen. It helps me out. It helps keep me in the algorithm in YouTube and Apple Pods and Spotify. And you can stream us on Spotify. Like, we automatically play. If you don't watch the video, there's a benefit to watching the video if you're listening in the audio format. You can check that out on Spotify anytime, and it auto plays anytime you click on it. So make sure to give us a like, subscribe, but leave a comment if it's the YouTube video. You can leave comments on Spotify now. All of those things help move the process along. I got a whole bunch of new things I'm going to be doing on the Number 2 Show in 2025. I'm excited to bring it to you. Until next time, I'm your host, Rafe Williams. This has been another Number 2 Show. There's an empty toilet. That's like the empty chair. That's, you know what that is? That's like when Clint Eastwood talked to that empty chair at the Republican National Convention. That's me talking to an empty toilet. That's you. You're the one sitting over there because you're sitting in your car, or you're sitting on the toilet, or you're sitting at work, and you're listening to me. And to me, I look through this glory hole and I see you, the fans of the Number 2 Show, the Bowl Patrol. There you are. Look at you. You're beautiful. you're good enough, and you're loved. That's all you need to know. Until next time, always wipe front to back. I'll see you on the next one.